Welcome into another edition of Ozarks Gambling Gurus, episode 4. Been around for a month and haven't been kicked off YouTube or Facebook yet, so that's a victory. I'm Scotty P. Scott Purrier, joined by Danny Handpay, Dan Evans, the king of slots, and the poker man, Randy Murfin, a.k.a. Murph. Guys, welcome in.
Hey, guys.
What's up, guys?
We're going to have some fun talking the usual tonight, casino stories. Got some fantasy football tips, got college football to go over. We have some NFL, the first full week of NFL games coming up starting tomorrow night. It's time. We're there. Going to have a special guest join us at 9:15, Sean Hare, the former Branson and Ozark high school basketball coach who has spent the last 30 years up at Shawnee Mission East. He's going to join us in about 15 minutes. My understanding is he is a gambling degenerate, just like the rest of us. Correct, guys?
Most definitely.
No comment.
Are you guys responsible for harboring that behavior when he was at Ozark or not?
He brought it from Branson, I think. I never even knew how to gamble till I met him.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I know you had something you wanted to throw out there before we get started.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out tonight to a good friend of mine, Ron Neely. Ron and I grew up together from first grade on. He's going through a cancer issue. He had surgery today, and things so far are looking positive for him. He's going to be in the hospital for several days, but great family. So thoughts and prayers to Ron, his wife Karen, and his sons Brian and Brad.
Very well done. Yes. And if we had OGG t-shirts, we'd send him one right now, but those are in the makings. We got to make sure we last past a month, I think, before we start talking some merch here and stuff too. So
get well, Ron.
You bet. Absolutely. Another note, Murph, you and I probably want to comment on that. Saw on Facebook today that Dan Evans has started year number 50 in education. 50 years.
You start when you were 12?
Yeah, you taught Ned Reynolds, correct?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Long time.
No, how many of those it started, I assume, in 1975, right? Where?
So I was at a little town called Brunaw by Nevada, and
not Brunaw.
Brunaw. That's what I always called it. And I taught 6 different classes. I was assistant boys and girls basketball coach, head baseball, head softball, and senior class sponsor. And I made $6,400 that year.
We call that a weekend at Downstream now, right?
Wow. That's a bad parlay loss.
It's been. I've had a lot of fun. Still having fun, and just a lot of great memories. Saw a bunch of kids that I had as students at Ozark last night. I had a volleyball game down there. They came up and talked to me. So it's always fun to go places. The sad part of that, real quick, that first group of kids I had at Brunaw have been drawing Social Security for 5 years.
And they might be clients of mine in the Medicare space too, right? At some point.
Send them Scott's way.
Exactly. Yes. Brought to you by Senior Health Plans of the Ozarks. Now let's recap the weekend a little bit. Murph, you said you stayed home and watched football.
Watch some good games. Watch Alabama go down. Has anybody checked on Phil Montgomery?
A wellness check on Phil. I don't know if Phil got a single pick right that he had.
That his last appearance for us.
Yeah, he's out now. He's on probation, I think.
I threw my sheet away and came back into check and I couldn't find it. I think he laid the golden egg, right? I don't think he got one right.
Yeah, if he were watching, then he would be cursing us right now. But Dan, you made the casino tour, four different casinos. Tell us where you went.
Yeah, so I started off at Indigo Sky and kind of walked around, played just a little bit, and I heard quite a few bells going off. Sound like people were, at least making a little bit of money, and they were pretty crowded. I was there probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The restaurant had quite a few people in it, a lot of people out at the pool. And so it looks like things on Saturday were going good. Drove it down 4 or 5 miles away to the Outpost, which is owned by Indigo Sky. And they had a good crowd too.
Is it back in Seneca or is it back toward River Bend?
Go back towards Joplin.
Okay.
Go about a mile out of town and go. I guess that'd be west. Randy, is that right? but it's
I've
down.
never I don't think I've been to the Outpost.
Do you go into Seneca, or how do you get there?
Okay, you go all the way into Seneca, to go to Indigo Sky. So then if you're leaving and coming back to Joplin, you leave Seneca, you go about a mile, there's a new gas station right there on your left, and you turn left right there, and it's about 2 miles that road.
Okay. I know the turn,
actually,
but I've never been there.
Yeah.
That's right.
You take the roundabout and go into Seneca a little ways, and then you go out, right?
God, here's the deal. If you go, you get mad and leave in 5 minutes, so it really doesn't matter what road you do.
The one thing that's nice about the tribes is they did make a path from Indigo Sky to downstream that's only about 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Just shooting up 43.
Yeah.
It's a quick little jaunt.
Yeah. So then I left the Outpost, and if you go about probably 6 more miles, you come to the High Winds Casino. And I've always liked it. I don't go very often, and it's just a little bit further. It's a little bit bigger. It's probably in between Indigo Sky and the Outpost size-wise, but they had a good crowd, and there was quite a bit of noise and the machines going off there too. And probably need to go back there a little bit. I've always liked the High Winds Casino. Then I went to downstream, stayed there too long. I did not win money that night. I did get my name called for the finals of the Jeep Wrangler contest, and unfortunately, they called my name about 5:30, so I hung around until 10:30 for the drawing. And
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and when it was my turn to pick a card, I had a 1 out of 16 chance of winning the Jeep, and I got a $500 voucher, which I appreciate, and it's nice, but it's not a Jeep.
I was a little taken aback. I was trying to sleep watching the text chain between you guys, and you acted like the $500 was no big deal. Like you were mad.
No, I mean, I'd say disappointed. I mean, if you have a 1 out of 16 shot, I mean, I think that's pretty good odds, and just disappointed. I mean, again,
Well, it paid for your night, right? And your day.
I wish that was the case.
Did you come home with the 500? That went right back in.
No.
Okay.
So you got the 500, turned around and gave it back to
you got 500 twice. When they called your name to be in the finals, you got $500.
Well, you dusted that off waiting.
Yeah. So then when you get up there and draw, then I drew another $500.
And gave it back.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Well, I watched football Saturday all day, and then I went to the Tim McGraw concert Sunday night down at Thunder Ridge. Had been scared off up until then by all the negative talk, and we left at 2:30. Had nothing else to do on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just sat there in the parking lot and tailgated, and had a great time. I actually did 2 fantasy drafts in the time we were down there. One while we were tailgating, and one actually in Tim's set early on in the set there. Got some nasty looks from my wife about doing. I said, "Hey, this draft was set before we decided to come down here." So, but no, I don't know if you guys have been to Thunder Ridge, but it was great.
I haven't. Yeah,
I haven't either.
Yeah, great time. My advice would be go early. Tailgate. We bought I had a friend tell me to buy a diamond parking pass, which is up there within 5 to 10 minute walk from the actual arena. If you want to.
What do those run?
What's that?
What's the diamond pass run?
I think it varies by show. This one was 90, and we had another couple with us, so we just split it up 45 a piece. And
worth it, I would say, from what I've heard.
And the key with the diamond pass is when you get off of 80 or off 65 onto 86, you get a separate roadway into the diamond and VIP lots. So
nice.
We pulled right up into the slot, and then afterward, if one of our friends hadn't lost her phone and we had to stick around, you have a certain window you can leave. And when that window passes, you might as well just get the chairs back out, which is what we did, and sat there for another hour and had a beverage. But no, it was a good experience. And concert, Tim McGraw only played 17 songs. That was a little short, but it was a good time. So would recommend now. I think they're figuring things out at Thunder Ridge, and as long as they don't oversell tickets, they're going to be okay with that too.
Well, if I ever have anybody I want to go see, I'm anxious to go see the place. I hear it's great.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this Friday night, the Doobie Brothers are down there.
I'd see that show.
That's kind of in our wheelhouse there a little bit. And they're coming up on the end of the season. You know, it's got to be a pretty neat little competition between Johnny and Thunder Ridge versus Walmart and the Amp.
Yeah.
You know, because an act that comes into our area is not going to hit both of them. And so I would think Johnny could squash anybody that the Amp wanted, because the Amp's got, I think, 15,000 people it can hold. Thunder Ridge could get 25 in there.
I do like I have been to the Amp, and I recently went to, and I really enjoyed it. It was nice, but I have yet to go to Thunder Ridge. So I'm sure I've heard it's beautiful. So
why, you know, it seems like that downstream, you know, Indigo Sky didn't really have the place for an act. They've got the musical area back in the bar. I believe they've got a venue they use, don't they, for occasional shows, or have they? Am I wrong on that?
The big shows are out in the parking lot, grassy knoll, and they can pack them in there, right?
At which place?
At downstream.
Okay, yeah. So downstream can go inside or out, but
correct. Yeah.
What happened to? There was a time where downstream and Buffalo Run were kind of battling back and forth with really good concerts, and it seems like that's kind of stopped now.
I haven't. Yeah, the shows have I saw Foreigner there probably 7 years ago, and it was really good. But I haven't seen an advertisement for a good show at either place in quite a while. So ZZ Top at Buffalo Run, they were good.
I mean, I think they've kind of gone to some older acts, you know, that are back in business. You know, if you ask my wife, you know, she got to meet Rick Springfield a few weeks ago at a concert down there. You know, so they've had some people. I think a lot of times it just kind of depends on, you know, what you like in music. They probably lowered the number of like new people that they've had, you know, compared to what they used to. But I think sometimes, you know, if there's 12,000 people out there, that's 12,000 people for 4 hours that's not inside gambling.
Well, but it would be awfully hard and to go down there to a concert and not go inside and
right. That's what I'm thinking. That's maybe 7,000 people that would never go to a casino, Dan. Then they go in after the show
and go to the sports bar and eat, or Red Oak or something. So I just wonder what's happened with their, you know, because we saw Brad Paisley down there, and right after COVID, it was the first concert after COVID. Great show. They were getting that level of entertainer for a while, because I think he was the CMA Male Star of the Year or something coming off that. So I just wonder if they've changed their focus.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people right now are questioning some leadership changes that they've gone through there in the last couple of years. So maybe there's been a shift in what their vision is that they should be doing. You know, they recently, and Randy, you'll know what this is. You know, the kiosks that you go in and scan your card,
right?
You know, those are all gone now. They've taken them all out.
Why?
Well, that's a great question. I asked several people, and all anybody would say was they're in the middle of an upgrade. I think if you remember last week, I talked about they ended up canceling a drawing
giveaway,
at the last minute. And this is just a guess, totally zero information, 100% guess. I would not be surprised if somebody hacked into their system and gave themselves a lot of free play over a few weeks, months before they caught it. I don't think you would take out all of your kiosks and say it was an upgrade until you were ready to set the new ones in.
Yeah.
So I think something happened.
The last time I was there, it seemed like when I put my card in, the screen, the Q Club's card, it was a little different interface. Is that all the way through the casino? Maybe
the little information on the top of the machine
is
different than what it did too.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why they. Yeah. But you're talking about the kiosks when you come in and there was like a row of like 6 or 7. Those are all gone now.
Points you got, or spread off coupons, all those are gone now.
Huh.
Well, speaking of downstream, you know, we had our OGG's Listener League draft a couple weeks ago. It starts up officially tomorrow night, and Murph and Danny Handpace square off in the first week there. I've got a matchup with Miles Thompson, but you guys have a little bet on the line, don't you?
We do. Randy, tell them about it.
I think I'm getting 2.5, correct? Come on, give me. Don't we give points in fantasy games?
Fantasy, yeah, that's not a thing.
There's no point spreads in fantasy.
I don't think
bullshit. Okay, we'll go straight up on a Red Oak dinner. I think so.
Red Oak. All right.
Estimated value of
free for Dan. It's going to set me back $250.
Yeah, you can't get it. 2 people, steak, potatoes. You can't get out for less than $250 probably.
Wow. Now, is this bet for a couple or for just an individual?
We might invite you.
God, if you want to go, we'll take you.
That'd be good. I can eat with the best of them. So
okay, loser buys dinner for the 3 of us.
We'll report back on that next week. First week of fantasy football. I believe our guest is ready to be brought in, so I'm going to bring him into the stage, and we welcome in the man, the myth, the legend, former Branson and Ozark high school coach here in the area. Been at Shawnee Mission East for 30 years. Sean Hare. Sean, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it, man. I feel like I'm with 3 legends right here, and Scott and Randy and Dan. I really appreciate being on your show. I think it's a great show. I think you guys are doing great work.
Well, thank you. We were talking before you jumped on, wondering when your gambling habits began, whether it was an Ozark thing, and the story was they believe you brought it from Branson. Is that accurate or not?
Unfortunately, I probably bought it from a lot earlier than that, but let's go with that. That's a good start. That's a definitely good start.
Well,
is that a Chief? Are you wearing a Chief shirt?
I am wearing a Chief shirt, Randy, just for you.
I don't have my glasses on. I can't see.
I do have a pair of readers here too, just in case. I check my notes. I wanted to try to be prepared. I know how that's. We're getting old, Randy. That's all.
I know, buddy.
If you don't have readers handy, then you're not ready for the show, right? Yeah,
right here.
So Sean, kind of for those who are hearing your name for the first time in a long time, tell us about your time down in our area. How you wound up in the Ozarks for a while, and then what took you to Shawnee Mission East and the Kansas City area for all these years.
Sure. I graduated from Missouri State or Southwest Missouri State in '86 and did my master's in '88. Went to King City for 2 years and was lucky enough to get the Branson job in 1990 and worked with great people there. Coach, I'll probably drop some names that you guys all remember, but Steve Hancock was the football coach and the athletic director, and he was great to me. And then after 2 years at Branson, I got the Ozark job and, replaced a legend in Coach Ryder, and was lucky enough to be there for 4 years and coach some great players and work with some great people. Dan Evans being one of them. He was a key to my success. And then was fortunate enough to go to Kansas City. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and went to Rockhurst High School, and kind of always wanted to get back to Kansas City, and been fortunate enough to be at Shawnee Mission East for the last 30 years.
30 years. I mean, was there temptations in that 30 years to look elsewhere, even in the area, or they've treated you right, obviously, there? They've
treated me very well. It's I don't know if you ever see Ernie Johnson, and he talks about talking to Phil Montgomery like this. He talked to Nick Saban's team in Alabama, and he's like, I have a get-to job. It's not a got-to job. It's a get-to job. And, it's great. I get to coach these kids at East. They're great kids. It's a great community. It's a school. It's a generational school. I've been there so long that I'm now starting to get kids I coached in the early 2000s, late 90s that are starting to have kids, and they're coming back to school. So that's when you're really old, when you're doing that, getting a second generation of kids.
Well, and I think the amazing thing is, and Dan would attest to this as an AD, because Dan, the coach, is like, where's Waldo? I mean, every year you kind of got to figure out what school he's landed at, for at least a year or two. But to stay 30 years in this environment now with social media and parents and I think kids are different. Some people argue, but I think they're different now. That's an accomplishment to be wanted for 30 years. I'm sure there's some people who didn't want you at times, but you've been able to outlast that.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. We talk about that a lot, about outlasting some people, but I do think that kids have maybe changed a little bit, and then I think people will tell you Coach Hare's gotten soft as he's gotten older and all that good stuff. I just think kids need to be today more than ever. You can get on kids and you can coach kids hard as long as they know that you care about them and love them. And I think I say that a lot more nowadays than I ever said when I was beginning my career. I was just hard-nosed and tough from the very beginning, and I've probably softened in the fact that kids got to hear that you really care about them. You really do love coaching them. You really do love your job. You've done it for 38 years. Obviously you care about kids. So
you can't hit them anymore.
I wish, Randy.
I think they need it.
Coach, how many games have you won?
What's that?
How many games have you won?
I'm closing in on 500. I hope that will happen here in the next. It should happen this year. Let's just say that.
Hey, quick story.
Who was your buddy that back in the blue and gold days when you were here at the Ozarks? Who was your buddy that treated the blue and gold like it was a Taylor Swift concert with wardrobe changes every session? I can't. It was another coach. I think it was a volleyball coach, maybe. You know what I'm talking about? Was it Heron? Was it?
Oh, Chris Heron.
Oh,
yeah.
Chris Heron, Chris Heron, and I think Chris Heron maybe is coaching at Emporia State. Does that sound right to you?
No, he's at Washburn.
Washburn. Okay, yeah. Dan, do you remember that section over there? Because there was a section in the end zone.
Yeah.
That was, Denzel was there.
Yeah, that's where we all kind of gathered at.
Yeah, and Heron would come down for the blue and gold, and he'd have a different outfit on every shift change at the main gate. I think
he always liked to look sharp.
And he's a volleyball coach and son of a gun too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been National Division II Coach of the Year at least once, maybe twice.
Well, Sean, you got a Chiefs shirt on. We're going to talk some college and NFL football. The casinos up there. One thing I wanted to ask you is because I'm heading up there here in a couple of weeks for a birthday party and going to Kansas City casinos for the first time. What am I going to notice different about the casinos up there versus downstream Indigo Sky, the ones we have down here?
Well, I'm flipping through my notes here because I wanted to be prepared for a couple of your questions here. So just make sure I keep my phone up. I don't want to be like your last guest, Montgomery. So if I drop my phone or something, just tell me. I don't, I'm that guy that has to,
We were trying to reach in and grab Phil and pull him back down, that because he was like doing this.
All right.
Where's Phil?
You got 4 on the Missouri side. You got Ameristar, Harrah's, Argosy, and Bally's. And then you got 2 on the Kansas side, Hollywood, and then 7th Street Casino. You got hotels at Ameristar, Harrah's, Argosy, and then you got a hotel at Hollywood on the Kansas side.
Do you have a favorite?
Harrah's is probably my favorite to go to. It's kind of crazy, and I think Randy could jump in here and talk about, if you go with a Caesars property, if you go with an MGM property and your points and all that good stuff that you get going, you obviously got to put your cards in there and do different things, just like you guys talk about going to downstream. I think probably the biggest difference you could go, and Kansas City is obviously a big metropolitan area. It's just not if Randy was up here playing poker, I'm not sure he would see those same guys that he sees at downstream or Indigo all the time like he sees. I'm not sure I'm sure there's a group that always plays together, but it's probably just not as engaging, friendly. So
it's the same group of KC players when I go up there. I see the same because I've played so much, and they'll come down for tournaments. But anytime I'm in Kansas City, I see the same guys, and it may be 5 years. There they are again. They're like, "What's up, Murph?" And so it's kind of a Midwest thing. They're just kind of the same group.
That's really good to know because I hope that we always think as Midwest people, we're always try to be friendly and try to be sociable, try to be, pretty kind to each other, even though we're playing to, take each other's money. But, that's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Sean, what What about, do you play anything else? What do you like to play when you go in the casinos up there?
I'm a big blackjack player, and so Randy, I know. I don't know if it was episode 1 or 2. I've tried to listen to all of your episodes, but Randy's a guy that I just can't stand because he's a hit and run guy. He comes all of a sudden he's coming hot off the poker table, and he's sitting out around or something, and he'll come in and he'll put a big bet on, and he'll totally screw up your whole shoe, and you're like, hey, who is that guy? So
No, hang on. I have etiquette. This is back to our etiquette story. I always, when I come up to a table for a drive-by, I go, how's the table? I'm just going to play one hand. I go, please tell me. I won't come in. And they tell me, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not an asshole. And
okay.
so I'm very, very nice that way.
That's awesome. Those
Okay.
are the kind of people that you can hang around with and have a cold beverage with. It's the people that just come in and don't have any respect for what's going on, because the table is either running good or it's running bad. There's no question about that. And you follow a bunch of guys. There's crazy guys that say, if it's running so bad, I just play the complete opposite of what you really should play to change up the cards. Play 2 or 3 hands. And they just, like, when it's running bad, you best thing to do is run home. That's really what you should do, and that's hard to do.
Is what are the minimums up there at most of the blackjack tables?
That's kind of the tough thing. Usually they're 10 to 15. More and more on the weekends you see higher minimums, and that's you can lose a lot of money in a hurry. And I think if they would just open up $5 tables, they'd have tons of tables and they'd have tons of players. That's the toughest thing I think about some bigger casinos, and Randy could tell you for sure in Vegas, boy, you can't find $5 blackjack tables unless you're going to a certain spot.
It's hard to find downtown anymore. A weekend, like when the Raiders are in town, Bellagio, I mean, it's $100 minimums. You can't get on a pie gow table for less than 100. It's tough. I mean, everything's going up. It's a
Sean, you
racket.
play some slots up there?
I don't play a ton of slots. I need to call Dan and invite him up and show me exactly what to do. He says he's down on the Kansas City. He says it's hard to win.
Yeah, there's no VGT machines up there. They're only on Indian casinos.
That's crazy. I didn't.
Well, we were going to talk. You can stay with us here talking about last week's college football before we jump into some of the big ones to get your thoughts and NFL coming up this weekend. But I think the game that stuck out in most minds was the marquee game right at 11 a.m. with Ohio State and Texas. And Ohio State beats the Longhorns 14-7 in Columbus. Murph, your thoughts on Arch Manning after watching that one?
Well, I do need new glasses, and I won't be getting Warby Parker. That's how his performance was. I don't know. I the hype before the game. I was ready. I told you I changed my mind. I was all Texas, and he just threw kind of a dud. Didn't look good. Didn't look poised. What'd you guys think?
Sean, what'd you think?
Well, I thought you brought up a really good point last week. If his name is Smith or Jones, people are like, oh, this guy's no good. This guy's terrible. But this guy's last name's Manning, and he's got a pedigree, and obviously he's a great quarterback. I think he's got a great future, but he definitely needed to play, he needed to play a couple of non-con easy games to kind of get him going. I don't think Ohio State was a good opener for him.
Yeah.
That's the thing is it's hard to judge him after 1 week because he just went to probably the toughest place to go win, in an opener. But the thing that with him that I think has always been red flags is, he played at a very small private Christian school in Louisiana. And
like a 2A school, right?
What's that?
Was it like a 2A school or a 3A school? Yeah.
And so their competition wasn't very strong. And his family never sent him to any of the, the Elite 11 camps, things like that, to kind of showcase him, so people could rate him. He just kind of walked into Texas being Arch Manning and the number 1 quarterback recruit in the country. And I think there are a lot of people that were like, I mean, he's big, he's fast, but has he really been tested by that level. And last year at Texas, he's behind Quinn Ewers. He got in some games, but nothing like what he just faced at Ohio State last Saturday. And, just when he would roll out and he would throw the guy's there and he'd throw it at their feet, you're kind of going, this is odd.
Scott, do you think the first editorial you wrote as a young guy was as good as 2-3 years ago?
Probably better, actually. I think I got worse as I got older.
But I think you hit on it. 1 week's
True.
Probably not enough time to say good or bad.
They'll pummel somebody the next couple of weeks and get his confidence back up. And I guarantee you, by the time they play OU in the Red River rivalry, he'll be ready to go. Couple other ones. We're thinking of Phil Montgomery on this one when Bama gets thrashed by Florida State. Phil had him in there, in the Final Four or top 5. And I don't know about DeBoer, I guess. He probably needed a year after that one, but he's probably got the old remember the Titans for rent signs in the front yard, doesn't he?
I saw an article today, John Gruden to Alabama. So, everything's going to start flying around.
Yeah. So that was that was a 2-10 Florida State team last year. That shows you what you can do with the portal now. It's amazing. Missouri State gets slapped around by USC. It was a 73-13, I think, was the final there. It was a 35-point line. I thought Missouri State had a chance at covering, but I also forgot that Lincoln Riley's pissed that they're not ranked, and everybody's been on him about what a poor job he's done for the money he makes. And so I think every chance they get, USC and Lincoln Riley are going to try to score 70 or more against people they can just to make a statement. So
they did have the lead. They had the lead 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0.
You got to build on something.
Exactly. Mizzou and Arkansas coasted when they should. Mizzou beat Central Arkansas like a drum on Thursday. It was a slow start, but they got it going. And then same thing with Arkansas versus Alabama A&M. Miami Notre Dame went down to the wire on Sunday. I didn't get to see that one.
Great
really game, wasn't it?
Really good game.
Great game.
Better
Is
than
Miami back.
They might be. It was definitely better than your concert you went to. They played well. I think that was the best game of the day. Even
And that's a good Notre Dame team too. I believe was Notre Dame favored by 2.5. I think in that one.
I think so.
Yeah. And then Coach Belichick. I mean, he won because he went home with the 24-year-old at the end of the night. But boy, they got slapped around on Monday night by TCU, and it was funny because I remember, I think it was Skip Bayless or somebody. They jumped up 7-0. I didn't get to see it, and somebody social media is just raving about North Carolina's back and Belichick's got this thing figured out, and then they proceed to get thumped the rest of the way. So
the first drive was beautiful. I mean, they mixed it up. Every run was for a gain. Hit a guy in stride, touchdown. Everybody's pumped, and then it's 3 and out the rest of the game. It was really weird. So I don't know what happened.
While we're on a college roll here, Sean, let's test the temperature of the Kansas City area with the border war is back. Kansas and Mizzou Saturday in Columbia. What are your thoughts on that? What's the feeling around Kansas City right now?
It's definitely a big split feeling. There's tons of KU fans, tons of MU fans. I'm actually going to the game. My wife, her brother, and my sister-in-law, and then my wife's parents all live in Columbia. They're huge MU fans.
Oh, good.
I'm not so much. I'm more.
I thought you were KU. We might have to bet on it. We might have to throw you in a bet with Dan and I. Okay.
Well, it's there's a picture of me. I should send it to you guys. There's a picture of me back in 2012. I went to the last MU-KU basketball game where KU really probably should have won that game. They were up 9 late, and then Denman goes on a crazy run, hits like 3 threes, or maybe got an and one. And I'm like I'm sitting behind kind of KU's bench, always obviously in an MU section. I'm wearing a KU shirt and flooded by MU fans, and it's kind of on the Columbia Tribune typical, not a good look for me, and especially because they got beat. So I don't know. I might just tone it down, and I think I'm sitting in a black section. I might have to. I think it's black and gold sections. I think I might just have to wear a black shirt and shut my mouth.
Mizzou is a 6.5-point favorite in that. It's a 2:30 kick on Saturday. I am not an Eli Drinkwitz fan. My friends know that. He's just annoying to me. Everything he does annoys me. Just the childish crap he says, the things he does. I don't know that they've justified the attitude they have with their chests all puffed out.
Spoken like a true OU fan.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it's just really, what have they done? The games last year that they actually had to play somebody, they got destroyed. Alabama, and was it Alabama? They went down there and got just boat raced, and then A&M. I remember it was 41-0 at one point. So I don't know. I mean, does Kansas have a shot at going in and winning this, Sean?
I think they do. Their quarterback's a stud. He's actually been there for 6 years, which is phenomenal in today's NIL world. But he got redshirted in 2020, had the COVID year in 2021, and then has played the last 4 years. So he's got enough experience. But it's a bad game for Mizzou. Mizzou's SEC, Mizzou's big time. KU's a nobody in the Big 12, and Mizzou needs to win. If they don't win this game, it's really, really. What's that say about the SEC? What's that say compared to KU, who's not? I don't think anybody's saying KU should win the Big 12. So it's a tough position.
I tell you, we're going to find out about Drinkwitz, because, I mean, remember, this is a guy that was, I want to say 19-18 after his first 4 years, and they were ready to run him out of town. And then the SEC schedule flipped, and they got the same version as Texas did, where I believe Mizzou for the last 2 years has been able to skip, let me get this straight, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida, and Tennessee. They don't play any of those 6. And it's an SEC schedule. And now that will change next year, because these are 2-year cycles where 1 year you're playing all those people, home, and it's a home and away thing. So that'll be really telling. But, they don't leave Columbia for their first 6 weeks. So that's a bonus. So you're right. If they lose this one to a rival, and I don't know, is this a one-time deal, or is this a series they've restarted?
I think it's a series they've restarted.
They have restarted.
They do go to KU next year.
Okay. Other than that one, it's kind of a light schedule in terms of marquee games. The night games, Michigan at OU. OU's a 4.5-point favorite. I have zero confidence in Brent Venables to win that big game until he actually shows me that he can. Haven't seen it in 3 years so far to win a big one. But that'll be interesting. OU 4.5-point favorite at home. Missouri State goes to Marshall. Marshall is a 10.5-point favorite. That's a 5 p.m. kick. And I think Marshall got thumped by Georgia last week. So they'll be ready to take it out on somebody. Just a heads up, and we've talked about it, the biggest game ever played at Plaster Sports Complex in terms of interest is a week from Saturday, when I believe they're number 16 now, SMU. Comes to Plaster to play the Bears next Saturday. And so that is Art Haynes' last broadcast game. After a glorious career, he's going to retire after that one. It's his alma mater, which makes it really a cool story too. But so the Bears will play at Marshall and then come home to play SMU. Welcome to FBS level football, huh? You got $1.5 million to go to USC. That helped the budget. But
softens the blow.
Exactly.
I bet SMU will really be impressed when they walk in Plaster Stadium.
Well,
Dan, I want to hit on that real quick, because I was with a bunch of guys that you coached in a fantasy football league.
Uh-huh.
I heard that SMU visited Plaster, and they came down, and obviously they saw the facilities, and they left, and they said, well, we'll offer you $1 million if you play this game in Dallas.
Wow.
And Missouri State turned it down, and then said, we'll offer you $2 million if you come to Dallas, and they still turned it down.
Wow.
So
I think they go there next year, but they wanted both of them down there. They didn't want to have to come here at all, right?
They were not impressed, I think.
Yeah. Well, it'll be, and if Missouri State's ever going to have close to a sellout crowd again, that's a game that it should happen for. So some other Saturday games, Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa State's a 3.5-point favorite. That's an 11 a.m. kick. Baylor is at SMU. SMU is a 2.5-point favorite, also at 11. Kind of laying out your afternoon here. Kansas and Mizzou is a 2:30 kickoff in Columbia. Arkansas State at Arkansas. The Hogs are a 23.5-point favorite. That's a 2:30 game in Little Rock. So that's kind of your Saturday heads up on the viewing schedule. Sean, sitting there in your Chiefs shirt, got NFL opening week starting tomorrow night with the Cowboys at the Eagles. Philadelphia is an 8.5-point favorite in that one. Got the Chiefs playing Friday night. They're in Brazil against the Chargers. Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite against Los Angeles. Last time we saw the Chiefs in a real game, they were walking off the field with their tails between their legs. How motivated is this team on what is called the revenge tour this year?
I think extremely motivated team. I think Mahomes has a huge bounce back year. I think his over under on touchdowns like 27.5. I think he crushes that number, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just think he's motivated. He's committed to throwing the ball down the field. I think obviously not having Rice for the first 6 games is tough, but he's going to find other people. I think they're going to open up the offense a little bit more, throw it even more than they have in the past. But I'm not sold on the Friday night. Friday night, I think, for high school football. Kind of a side note, the Chiefs just left this morning. They left early this morning to play in Brazil, which I kind of thought was off to me. I was like, why would they leave on, Tuesday or maybe even a Monday? And I don't know what the Chargers were doing. I should have looked that up. But that's late to me.
I think they played a game there last year and the field was in horrible condition, if I remember right, that the turf was torn up and guys were slipping and all that. So, hopefully they address that for this year.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to spend any more time in Brazil than you have to. I would want to just have my team parachute in and airlift it out.
I hope they get stuck there.
Well, Dan, you would get a wax there, wouldn't you, while you're there?
That's private.
Sean, I mean, you've lived the life that we're anticipating December 1st with online sports betting. I assume you live in Kansas since you're at Shawnee Mission.
Well,
have you partaken in any of the online stuff that Kansas has been able to offer, and how much fun is it?
It's a lot of fun. I actually live in Missouri, but work in Kansas. I live in Brooklyn, I live very close to the state line. Anyway, long story short, it's great. It's a lot of fun, and it does. I think you were talking to somebody last week.
Elijah
Har.
Yeah. And I think it does bring in. My research told me that in Kansas, that there was like over 300 million brought in per month, which to me is a lot of money. I can't imagine that it's not going to bring in lots of revenue, especially early on. It's too bad that it wouldn't have got started, for the NFL season right now in September. But I do think it's going to be big, in my opinion.
What are the odds that if we start December 1st that Murphin's broke by New Year's Eve?
Christmas Eve. What are you talking about?
Christmas Eve. Yeah, no presents. Sorry, honey.
Sorry, kids.
Yeah,
I'll get you next year.
Sean, what do you? I mean, do you bet a lot of prop bets? Because I know you knew the Mahomes touchdown number, or do you bet lines? What do you like to do online?
Well, I think there's lots of different angles to approach it. There's so many things you can do. You can bet the over/under. You can bet the line. You can parlay a couple teams. You can tease a couple teams. The NFL, I feel like those guys are so good. The number is so close all the time.
Unless you tease them.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works.
Oh yeah, that's easy. do that, and then you lose by a half point here or a half point there. So, but it's great. It's great entertainment. I will say that it's just great entertainment.
And sitting on your couch, being able to pull your phone over and do whatever you want to, right?
For sure, and it's convenient. It was great to hear kind of how those two companies for Missouri, won out. Murph probably has some good information on the whale company, the Circa. I'm not as great for Missouri.
Our parlay bets, for those who haven't dove into that world much yet, whenever we go online, are they a sucker bet, or should you stick to the single, the prop bets and this game here, this game there? Because if you put 5 games together in a parlay, God, there's no way with this teaser I can lose. You're going to lose, right?
Playing poker is your straight bet. Playing slots, that's more like your parlay bet. Sorry, Dan.
That's all right.
Don't you think, Sean?
I think the best thing you could do is to bet one game and be consistent with how much you're going to wager and try to do that consistently. The problem is there's just too much out there. You're like, oh, I think that's got it.
I got to bet the halftime.
Yeah.
So what does a 5-team parlay pay?
25 to 1.
25.
I don't know. Let's see. 2.5, 5, 10. Is it 8? What's a 4-teamer? 4-teamer's 10. 5-teamer's like 25, 27 to 1, I think. Isn't that right?
I hit a 5-team out in Vegas back in the early 2000s with my friend Greg Kellogg, Ozarks guy.
I bet you still have that money.
I probably do. And it was a $10, and I think I won like $225 or something like that.
Okay.
But it was one of those that I had no idea what I was doing. I just got lucky and hit it, and then I thought all of a sudden I'm the parlay king. I can pick any. And, you can play a DraftKings game called Pick Six now in Missouri. Every time that I pick 5 different bets, I hit on 3 of them. If I pick 6 different bets, I hit on 4 of them. And those don't pay. It's just hard to get.
I do like Sean. You may know more about this. Let's say you these young kids I know that have been betting on DraftKings bet like a 15-team or 15-leg parlay, and maybe they've hit 12, and then they'll be offered a buyout, kind of like right. They do that.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm not used to that. That's pretty cool.
So, my son, who is a Caseyville police officer, but he'll drive to Kansas, and he's done things like that. He's not betting a lot of money, but let's say he bets $5 or $10 on a 12 or 15, like Murphin says.
Yeah.
And it's like a touchdown prop. He bets on these 12 guys to score a TD. And 10 of them have scored a TD in the Sunday night games left to go. And if it's 10 and maybe it pays 1,000, maybe it pays 2,000. They'll say, okay, you've hit 10 of the 12. You could cash out for like 700. Maybe you could cash out for 900. It's pretty enticing, so they don't have to pay the full deal. And, I'm always like, because sure enough, you're like, you look at it, I'm not cashing out. I'm going to win it. And then you come down to your final play and the guy doesn't score and they take a knee or whatever it is. And you're just fuming at yourself because you should have taken the cash out.
Take the money. Who wants to be a millionaire? That's what it is. Who wants to be a millionaire?
What's your app of choice, Sean, over in Kansas?
Well, there's tons of them over in Kansas, but DraftKings is probably the best one. But there's FanDuel, there's BetMGM, there's ESPN Bet. Kansas has kind of opened it up to. I was trying to follow Elijah and how you went into that bidding war. To me, I don't know why Missouri wouldn't have opened up to everybody. I didn't quite understand that, but I think that's what Kansas has done. Because Kansas probably has 5 or 6 different apps that you could bet on, and go.
So, don't you think though they can tether to like Cardinals or the Royals or the Chiefs? All these like BetMGM and like ESPN they have a betting app, right?
Right, they do.
Wouldn't they be able to tether? I guess as many professional teams are in Missouri. Is that how many different gambling sites we could have? Is that kind of how Elijah explained it, or? Is that not how that works, Scott?
I think they have to tether to a professional team, and of course, we only have so many. So I think that
Right.
it would be, before you ran out of that. So yeah, we'll need to bring him back on probably around December 1st to kind of know
Yeah.
what we're doing too. Sean, how are you betting that Chiefs 3.5 against the Chargers?
Well, it's tough. 6 of the last 8 games have been decided in the fourth quarter. I can never bet against the Chiefs. I just can't do that. I've always got to bet with my heart. But I would tease the Chiefs and over if I had really had to put my money. But it's going to be a tough game. It's definitely going to be a tough game. Randy knows your division games are so hard.
Oh yeah.
Just
All
so,
in it. NFL's tough. Bet
Yeah.
on Saturdays. The kids at home bet on Saturdays instead of Sundays.
Sean, if I were in your position for 30 years and I knew that, I'm pretty solid, I would just identify a kid as a freshman whose parents had Chiefs season tickets, maybe a box or something. And I would ride that sucker for 4 years of Chiefs home games and just cycle. I mean, you'd be in year 6 of that cycle or 7 by now. Has that ever entered your mind, or you like the way things have gone so far?
Well, I was hanging out with Travis Kelce, and unfortunately, I'm married, and he was making it all work with Taylor, so I just couldn't figure all out how to work myself into getting a box and getting my luxury seats.
There you go. Well, some of these other games on Sunday, and anybody chime in, we're not going to go over all of them, but just some of the lines I think that are interesting. The Bengals are 5.5-point favorites at Cleveland on Sunday. I don't remember the last time Cincinnati won a season opener. They always dig themselves a hole.
Always.
That's why Joe Burrow was out there in the second quarter of meaningless preseason games trying to get ready. Do you think that Cincinnati covers that at Cleveland, all of you?
I think they do this year, but I would be. I didn't put them as my survivor like I did last year, so they're definitely not a survivor pick week 1.
Cincinnati in that.
Yeah, they killed everybody with Survivor last year with that one.
Yeah.
I think one that's interesting is Tampa Bay is a 1.5-point favorite at Atlanta, but I think the over/under at 47.5. I mean, I know defenses are usually better early in the season in these things, but those are two teams that just love to throw it and can't stop each other. I mean, I think I would take the over on that pretty easily. Patriots are 2.5-point favorites hosting the Raiders. Murph, your thoughts on that?
I have no clue. Going to the East Coast has always been a problem for the Raiders. Opener, we have a whole new regime. I mean, let's just compete. It should be a good game, I hope. I mean, who they've brought in, and Genty and Brock Bowers and Crosby, we're starting to build some pieces. I would just like to get a little foundation and compete this year. So
Pete Carroll
they go
and Gino. Yeah, you got a coach and a quarterback that have won before.
If they can go to New England and win week 1, hey, perfect.
The Steelers are 2.5-point favorites at the Jets in Aaron Rodgers' return. I'm sure he'll be warmly welcomed, won't he, coming back to the Meadowlands?
Yeah, they'll let him have it. The Jets lost somebody. Didn't they just have an injury like a day or two ago?
Guard, I think, or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple of other ones here. The Ravens are 1.5-point road favorites at the Bills on Sunday Night Football.
Great
Sean,
game.
You got a thought on that? Can the Ravens go up there and win? I know they came in and took the Chiefs down to the wire in an OT last year in the opener.
Yeah, and really by a toe.
Yeah.
It's a crazy game. That's a tough game. Buffalo's a tough place to play. It's a much tougher place to play in the winter. I would take Buffalo in that, although I think it'll be a heck of it. It's a great Sunday night game.
Monday night, the Vikings are 1.5-point road favorites with a rookie quarterback. It's a second year, but really the first year for J.J. McCarthy at the Bears and Caleb Williams. And the Bears, a new coach, Ben Johnson. Everybody's excited there. Are you guys surprised the Vikings are favored in this situation?
Yeah, I like Chicago in that game, but I don't know much. But I'm anxious to see what Ben Johnson does. I wanted him for the Raiders, so when he went to the Bears, I was kind of pissed about that. But I like him, and I think he'll work some magic there.
Sean, are you a fantasy football player?
I am.
Yeah.
I just got done drafting with a bunch of guys that Dan coached. It's called the Marionville Fantasy League.
Oh,
you
that's
would
quite a crew.
some of these guys: Dennis Hopkins,
Absolutely.
Scott Wells,
Absolutely.
Nessus.
Yeah.
Good guys. Tim Fitzpatrick's in that league.
Fitz.
Yeah.
I'm in a league with Fitz at Fremont Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that league's been around since like 1986, 87, something like that.
Wow.
But a bunch of people have been in and out of the league, but there's been about 5 of us that have been pretty solid. We played it on paper and pencil way back in the day and got our stats out of the USA Today. It's a different league. It's not a head-to-head league. It's a cumulative stats league. So every week we play 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, a kicker, and a defense. And you cumulative point it for the whole season. It's kind of crazy.
Who's your quarterbacks?
What's that?
Your 2 quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks are Joe Burrow and Drake May.
That's
I
good.
like it. Kids these days don't realize how hard it was to be a commissioner back in the old days.
Oh,
We paid commissioners in our league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's
did
a
as well.
full-time job on Monday.
We
Well,
did.
I was going to finish out with just a couple of fantasy football waiver wire, get out ahead of it before next week, because that, as you guys know, that play, it'll be waivers on Tuesday, overnight, Tuesday night, figure out who gets who, because there'll be guys that come out of nowhere this weekend. And a couple of them, I had a list longer, but I know we're short on time here. Go pick up Hollywood Brown today, because with Rashee Rice out for 6 games, Hollywood Brown is healthy. They're going to be watching Xavier Worthy as the primary guy and Kelsey over the middle. It's a chance for Hollywood Brown to get deep, because Patrick wants to throw deep now. Everybody said he can't, and Hollywood Brown's his best target for that outside of Worthy. So go pick him up. And then the other one is Ollie Gordon, running back for the Dolphins, rookie out of Oklahoma State. It was tremendous 2 years ago with OSU. Didn't have a good final year there, but everything has fallen into place. Jalen Wright, who's been the normal backup to Achan, Wright's out for several weeks. Achan's banged up with a calf. He says he's okay, but he's one of those guys. He's not very big. But Ollie Gordon is a battering ram, and I think the Dolphins at the Colts, he could get a lot of work, and he'll be one of those guys on your waiver wire you're trying to get next week. So there's a couple names to go out and see if they're there now, grab them, and then they're yours going into week 2. So,
Hey, Sean, were all your Taylor Swift shirts dirty tonight?
Hey, they were. Unfortunately, I know you guys can't stand that story. So I wanted to find out. I know my wife has one of those. I wanted to put those on just to make a whole scene for you guys.
What do you guys get out of Kelsey this year? Because last year I know was a disappointment for him, and it looked like he was a little heavy and a little lazy and unmotivated. Is it a different Kelsey now that he's engaged and in better shape?
I think he's in great shape. I think it's a huge bounce back year. I would bet the props over on Kelsey for yards, touchdowns, and receptions personally.
Awesome. Well, Sean, it's been great catching up with you. We'll bring you back here a little bit later in the season, get caught up. I know you'll have basketball season starting soon. How's the outlook for Shawnee Mission East this year?
Should be a good team. We get some coaching, we're going to be all right. That's what it all comes.
Sounds
Guys,
like Phil Montgomery.
Is this a football watching weekend? Any casino trips for anybody coming up?
Not for me. I'll probably watch a little football this weekend.
All football.
There you go.
I go to Vegas the end of the month. I'm going to the Bears game week 4, so it's probably football till then.
There you go. Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll put this on the Facebook page. Went a little long, but had a lot of fun with it. John, good luck to you, and we'll get you back on, okay?
See you, Sean.
I think you guys are doing a great job. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
See you, Shano.
Next week on Ozarks Gambling Gurus. Good night.